How's it going, guys? This is Twister, and today I'm bringing you guys another GTA Online video, and in this one I'm actually going to be giving you guys some pretty in-depth tips for when you play in the Piracy Prevention mode, and specifically trying to do it solo. So I've done Piracy Prevention a number of times. It's one of the first things I do whenever I load into GTA Online. Since I spawn on my yacht, I'll usually fire up Piracy Prevention, and a lot of the times I'll do it solo. And doing it solo, I've actually picked up quite a few tips and techniques along the way, so I thought I'd do this video for you guys to give you some in-depth tips on how to do Piracy Prevention on your own, and hopefully you'll actually learn some things from this. And some of the tips you'll learn from this might not be specifically just for Piracy Prevention doing it solo. It's basically just for other stuff in GTA Online as well, but a lot of it is to do with this mode and doing it solo. So to start off, some of the things that I recommend you buy and actually use for this mode is body armor, grenades, RPGs, homing launchers, and the most of the stuff you'll be using is your sniper and your assault shotgun. So most of those weapons are really effective on your yacht, and I'll get into why a little bit later on. But something that people often forget about is body armor. Body armor is, self-explanatory. It gives you more armor, so you'll often require more shots before you actually die, and this can really save your life, so it's definitely something I would recommend. So for the first part of tips and advice, you're really going to want to prevent people from getting to your yacht. You're going to spend most of your time making sure that people don't get close to your yacht, and you'll often do this by sniping. So what I often like to do is get onto the very top section of my yacht and start sniping people that are on the land so they can't actually get to the choppers. But if they do get to the choppers, you can still snipe them out of the choppers, so as soon as they get into that front seat you can snipe them, or even if they start flying towards you, you can snipe them. It is quite difficult, but it is possible. Or you can try use a homing launcher. Even if you can't actually fire the homing launcher at them and hit them with the rocket, even the sound that it makes, the lock-on sound, it often makes the enemies want to jump out of the chopper, and then they'll start parachuting. So what do you do when they start parachuting? So the thing that I like to do when I see an enemy start parachuting towards my yacht is I'll often shoot the parachute itself. It's pretty hard to hit an enemy whilst parachuting if they're not close enough to be able to lock on. So what I'll often do is pull out the marksman rifle, which is the semi-auto sniper, and I'll just start sniping at the parachute, and it won't break the parachute, but it will send it flying around in different directions, and they won't be able to actually control the parachute, and it'll often end up with that enemy in the water because the parachute, they just can't control it, so they just have nowhere else to go other than into the water. And when they're in the water, they can't really do anything else other than swim to the bottom of the yacht, and this is where grenades come in handy. So you can throw a grenade down to the bottom of the yacht, and what that will actually do, that will blow up all the different boats and jet skis that respawn below your yacht, and 9 times out of 10 this will kill any enemy that's in the general area at the bottom of the yacht. And the best thing about this strategy is that all the boats and the jet skis will actually respawn every couple of minutes. So using grenades and throwing them down there is a pretty decent defensive strategy, because the explosion that it causes will just kill anyone most of the time, and they actually respawn. So you can keep on doing this whenever enemies get close to your yacht. So whether they're using jet skis or whether they're swimming over, it's definitely a good strategy to use. Finally, you can use sticky mines to set up an extra layer of defense. So just in case you're not aware of anyone coming up to your yacht or getting to the capture zone, you can set up sticky mines to blow them up. And these can be effective, however I don't really use them too much. But I guess if you're not confident with your sniping, or if you're not confident with your aim duels against other people on your yacht, you can use the sticky mines, and these will protect your yacht and the capture zone if you do set them in places quite tactically. So that's some of the main tips I can give you to actually stop people getting onto the yacht. But one other thing to keep an eye out for is enemies that are using the off the radar or ghost organization, and you can expect these to be pretty high level enemies if they're using off the radar, and these will often come from people parachuting down in helicopters. So as soon as you see the little notification come up on your screen saying that someone's gone off the radar, it might not be someone coming to your yacht, but it could be. So as soon as you see that, you need to look around up in the sky and see if you can see any choppers or anyone parachuting in. One really handy tip here is that if you actually use a flare gun, whether you've got ammo for it or not, you can use the flare gun and you can aim it directly upwards in the sky. I don't think there's any other weapon you can do this with. Any other weapon that you try and aim directly up, it won't work. But if you use a flare gun, you can aim directly up and you can see anything that's coming above you, and this is really handy. So you really just need to be aware. Anyone could be coming from the sky at any time, especially if they are using off the radar. So you just need to keep an eye out, and if you do see someone, try and deal with them as quick as you can. So another thing to be aware of are enemies using the Hydra. Now, although the Hydra can be annoying while you're trying to defend your yacht, they aren't themselves that much of a threat, because someone in a Hydra has pretty much zero chance of directly capturing a yacht unless they jump out. So if they are in a Hydra, what I tend to do is just stay within the capture zone, off to the side a bit, because you've got a bit of shelter. On my yacht, I've got the Aquarius yacht, I think it is. This is the second most expensive yacht, and it does actually have aerial cover above the capture point. So if I'm staying in the capture point, it's really difficult for Hydras to actually shoot me. And then every now and then, if I can, I'll take a couple sniper shots at the Hydra, try and damage it a little bit, and then maybe the Hydra will have to fly away. But for the most part, just leave the Hydra alone, because they're not a direct threat to be able to capture your yacht. So if you just leave them alone, sometimes they'll just fly away or they'll parachute out, and that's when you can deal with them after they've parachuted out. Now, for when enemies do actually make it onto your yacht, the weapon that I use the most to try and to kill enemies is the assault shotgun. So when you're actually on a yacht, you've got a little bit of aim sway, and that's just because the boat is rocking back and forth in the water. You'll have a little bit of aim sway, so if you lock onto an enemy, the aim sway plays into effect and you won't be able to hit all your bullets. However, if you use a shotgun that obviously has pellet spread, it means you won't be penalised as much for this inaccuracy, and I think it's just a lot easier to use on the yacht. So if you aim for the head with a assault shotgun, you'll generally have a lot of success, especially since on the yacht it's definitely mostly close quarters engagements. So using the assault shotgun is one of the biggest recommendations I can give you. But if enemies do slip past your defensive and they actually make it onto the capture point, the things that I use mostly are RPGs and grenades. RPGs, especially if they're sitting on the capture point and they're a bit off to the side so you can't actually see them. If you just shoot an RPG right into the middle, it will often take them out anyway. So if they're trying to hide around the corner and they're not necessarily peeking out, so you can't kill them with an assault shotgun, definitely just shoot an RPG in there, or even throw a grenade. If you're aiming down the sights with any gun and you press left on the D-pad, it will throw whatever you've got in your throwable slot, so I usually have that as a grenade. It will throw a grenade into the middle, and this is handy for anywhere on your yacht. If they're trying to come up the stairs, if they're sitting on the capture point, aiming down sights with any gun and then using left D-pad to throw a grenade is definitely a handy tip. And finally, don't be afraid to use ghost organization and go off the radar yourself. Obviously enemies are going to expect you on your yacht, but they'll also often rely on their radar to know exactly where you are and whether you're coming down to them or going up to them. So if you go off the radar yourself, you're going to have the drop on them in most of the situations. So yeah, definitely don't be afraid to use that. So there we go, there are some of the biggest tips that I can give you whilst playing Piracy Prevention. Most of these are specifically to playing it solo, but you can use these tips and apply them to Piracy Prevention and even other modes in the game. So just to finish it off, the enemies you kind of want to prioritize are, firstly, people that are actually capturing the zone on your yacht. Then you want to move on to other people that are on your yacht, and then you want to deal with anyone parachuting in, anyone that's in a chopper, and then finally anyone that's on a jet ski. And then if there's no one challenging you for your yacht, then you can just start sniping people that are usually on the land. One final tip: when people do respawn on land, they'll often try and run towards the helicopters to try and obviously get back and fly towards your yacht. So what you can do, you can either try and snipe them or just snipe the helicopters themselves. If you shoot the back rotor on a helicopter a couple of times with your heavy sniper, it will blow them up so they can't use that helicopter. So yeah, that is pretty much all that I have for you guys, the tips that I have for you trying to play Piracy Prevention. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Hopefully you have learned some new things here, and hopefully you found this helpful for when you're playing Piracy Prevention yourself. If you have any of your own tips and you think that I've missed some of them out, then definitely make sure to share them in the comments and then let other people know some of your own tips for Piracy Prevention. Yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have and you have found it helpful, definitely leave a like, rating, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll hopefully see you all in my next video. See you later, guys.